Hey guys, I'm Kayla, the travel nurse, and today we're going to be doing reviews on companies. So I will blanket statement this with there are good and bad companies out there. Some companies work really well for some people, other people have varying opinions about that same company. It just depends on your experience. I definitely have companies that I'm going to recommend to you. There are other companies that I would not ever recommend to you. So just take everything with a grain of salt. What works for me might not work for you, and vice versa. Let's get into it. One resource that I love to use when I'm researching companies and when I'm looking up hospital information prior to signing contracts is travelnursingcentral.com. This is such an amazing resource. I feel like it's underutilized by travelers. There's a lot of information on the website. You can alphabetically search companies, you can alphabetically search hospitals, you can look at reviews from other travelers who've worked with these companies and have been to these facilities. Just make sure you're keeping an open mind when you're reading these reviews. For example, with hospital reviews, I like to look for consistently good or consistently bad comments. For example, if 10 people say this facility has dangerous nurse-patient ratios, well, that's probably a legitimate concern about that facility. If there are varying opinions such as I didn't get along with the staff or management, that's a personal problem. So you really have to look for the trends in the data when you're doing the research to know if a complaint is just a personal issue or if it's like a legitimate problem. Same with companies. When I'm considering using a new company, I like to see if there are frequently mentioned recruiters at that company that people are saying great things about, because then I have an idea of like who I'd like to work with before I actually sign up with them, and then I can request that recruiter. Let's get started on some of the companies that I would definitely recommend to you, whether you're a first-time traveler or a seasoned traveler. These are companies that I wholeheartedly recommend, that I have not had issues with, companies that have their act together, and companies that are just solid. My ride or die traditional pre-COVID company is hands down Emerald Health Services. I love Emerald. They have never steered me wrong. I have had zero issues with them, and I honestly don't even know if they're capable of screwing anything up. Like, they have their stuff together better than any company in my 7 years of travel that I've ever worked with. On travelnursingcentral.com, Emerald scored a 4.39 out of 5. I actually would rate them a little higher, maybe a 4.5 to a 4.75 out of 5, but I think for the most part that's a pretty accurate rating. The number one thing I love about Emerald is my recruiter. My recruiter is amazing. I am going to link my referral code down below, so if you feel like Emerald would also be a good fit for you, you can use my referral link to set up your profile and get started with them. The other thing that I love about Emerald is they do everything on the front end. They do all their compliance up front before they start submitting you to jobs. I think that is the best way to go about it, because with a lot of bigger companies who I will not mention by name, but a lot of companies are so gung-ho about getting you submitted that they rush and mass supply you, and then when you do land a contract, it's like the clock is ticking on getting all your compliance done, and they rush you through it. It's really stressful. It's just not a good experience. But Emerald has you do a ton of their compliance up front, so that on the back end, you just have to do very minimal things once you've signed a contract. Now, I will also blanket statement by saying every hospital has very specific compliance requirements. There will always be, no matter which company you use, there will always be things that have to be done at the last minute. I don't understand why this is, but it just seems like you'll do everything very quickly and get it done and think you're accomplished and you're good to go. And then they'll say, oh, now we need this MMR titer or something really stupid. And you're just like, okay, well, with Emerald, it's better to have to do like one minor thing than have to do all this compliance very quickly before your contract actually starts. Another good thing that I like about Emerald is they have a lot of reimbursements. So a lot of companies have shifted to just giving you a travel reimbursement, and that's about it. Maybe reimbursing you for a licensure. You're going to a contract where you had to get a single state license. That's kind of standard. Emerald's kind of nice in a way that they give you like extra little reimbursements, like $50 a year for scrubs, which isn't a lot, but hey, that's like a free set of scrubs. They reimburse you for your licenses, they reimburse you for your travel, they reimburse you for certifications, fingerprinting fees, nurses verification fees, any medical expenses that are related to compliance, like if there was something that you had to do and for some reason, which hasn't happened, but for some reason you had to pay out of pocket for it, they would reimburse you for that. One cool thing is they reimburse you for professional liability insurance up to $100 per year. I don't know how much the average liability insurance costs annually, but it is nice to be able to get a reimbursement for that, which would, I don't know, somewhat prompt you to maybe want to carry that insurance if they're going to be essentially paying for it. They also will give you $50 per year for COVID PPE. I bought an N7700 mask, booties, gloves, some hair covers, things like that, and it was all reimbursable. They provide medical and dental insurance starting on day one. They also match your 401k after 1 year of service with them. They also have housing partnerships with La Quinta and Extended Stay America, so they give you some discounts on monthly stays if you choose the hotel option for your housing. They also have a director of traveler relations. She's a nurse practitioner and she will help you with some of your compliance. So I really do like that aspect of having a nurse practitioner on staff that is easily accessible and will help you with clinical issues and questions and provide education to you. That's just a very nice service they provide. The pay packages are pretty good with Emerald. The locations are great. I actually took my first crisis contract with them in New York in March of last year, right at the peak, and the crisis rate for that was pretty comparable to what we're seeing even still today. It's definitely not as high on the crisis rates as some of the other big crisis companies, but it's still a good option. And if you're looking for more of a traditional 13-week contract that's non-crisis, the pay is just great. It's one of the higher paying companies in my travel career. Now we're going to move on to Nuwest. On TravelNursingCentral.com, Nuwest scored a 4.7 out of 5. I think that this rating is fairly accurate. I have done a contract with Nuwest. I went to Miami when they had contracted with FEMA. Their pay packages are off the charts. They don't pay as much as one of the other big players, but they're second and highest pay that I have found advertised anywhere and that I've actually earned. I do not have a referral code, but I will link the referral page in the description box below. Nuwest does do a semi-rapid deployment when they do advertise for their crisis jobs. It's not as immediate as one of the other big players, but within 5 to 7 days you should anticipate needing to arrive and start working. So make sure that you are available in your scheduling to quickly start with them if you do take a contract with them. A lot of their contracts have gotten shorter because of the crisis needs. So typically with them, you'll see 4 to 8 week long contracts, which is nice if you're not wanting to do a full 13 weeks. And in a true crisis situation, 4 to 8 weeks seems to be less taxing than 13 weeks. Now with Nuwest, you're expected to work a minimum of 48 hours per week, which is a little bit different from a traditional contract. You could work up to 60 hours a week depending on what type of contract you sign and what you're agreeable to. So keep that in mind that you are getting paid more, but you are expected to work more. They do provide medical, dental, and vision starting on day 1. They also offer 401k and life insurance option. They will start matching after 6 months of being vested, which is kind of nice because a lot of companies require you to work 1,000 hours and 1 year before they'll start matching. So 6 months is actually pretty nice. You take like a couple back-to-back contracts with them and you're vested. So that's a pretty nice time frame. They give you a $500 travel reimbursement on average. And they also provide $50 per year for scrubs, which again is one free set of scrubs essentially, which isn't bad. They also will reimburse you for your single state license should you have to obtain one. Next, we're going to talk about Krucial. Krucial is unrated on TravelNursingCentral.com. There is no recruiter with Krucial. You are what they call a reservist. So you basically fill out your profile online. You take all of your FEMA courses that they require, which are it's 3 courses and they're free. You submit all of your required documentation and profile, and then you are in their database. And what I recommend you do is you turn on notifications on Instagram for story and post notifications. You can also turn on your notifications on Facebook. And what they've been doing since maybe August of last year is every week or so they will post crisis needs, and they will post them for different specialties, and they will open up a phone line. So they will post and tell you, tomorrow at 11 a.m. ER nurses called this number for deployment. And they called them deployments because they are immediate. So they will post on a Thursday that they have ER needs somewhere in Texas. You won't know until you call where you'll be going. And they'll tell you you have to be landed in Texas by 10 p.m. the next day, so Friday. So if you choose to work with Krucial and go on one of these crisis deployments, you absolutely have to be available. They will not consider you if you're like, well, I gotta wait a few days. Nope. You have to be immediately available. It is an immediate deployment. So keep that in mind. It's very important. You don't want to waste your time or their time if you're not immediately available to work. The cool thing about Krucial is you could be on standby or you could have to work. So I have a couple friends who've taken multiple contracts with them, and my one friend, out of her 4 contracts, she has been on standby for 3 of them and only had to work 1. So regardless of whether you're working or you're on standby, you get paid the same. So it's kind of a 50-50 gamble. You might have to work, you might not. Either way, you're getting paid, and you're getting paid very well for what you're doing. But you kind of have the hopes of being put on standby and not have to work the entire time. But just know if you are on standby, they could call you in at any time to work. Now, that being said, their contracts are very short. On average, they're 2 weeks. I have been seeing them asking for a 4-week commitment, and it's not necessarily a contract per se, it's just what they call a commitment. But on average, most people are doing the 2 weeks. Now, that also being said, those 2 weeks are going to be very rough for you. The shifts that are expected are 6 on, 1 off, 6 on, 1 off. But again, it's only for 2 weeks. Now, if you were going to do the 4-week commitment, that might be quite a bit more exhausting for you to have to do that for twice as long. But just know if you're doing 2 weeks, it's just 2 weeks. I mean, that's a lot of working. You're getting paid an exorbitant amount of money because you're working so many hours. But it's short term, so it's not bad. Krucial will reimburse you for travel once. You can take 10 contracts with them and they will only reimburse you for that very first contract. It is only $500. So it's not all terrible, but just keep in mind that you will be responsible for your travel with every single contract you take with them. Up next is Mass Medical Staffing. They scored a 2.39 out of 5 on travelnursingcentral.com. That is a very low score. I actually think that score is a little inaccurate. I would probably rate them at a 3.5 out of 5. I will put a referral link down in the description box below. Mass Medical holds a special little place in my heart because they were the first company that I ever worked with. I worked with them for about the first year of my travels, and I really didn't have many issues with them, so I really can't say anything negative about them. They are a small family-owned company. They are based in New England, in Londonderry, New Hampshire, actually, which isn't too far away from where I'm stationed right now. They have lots of benefits for New England contracts, which is nice. Routinely offer on-site CPR courses in New Hampshire, Rhode Island, and Maine. So if you work with them, you are local here or on contract here, and you need to renew your BLS, ACLS, or PALS, they go ahead and offer those services to you, so it makes things a little bit easier. They do offer professional liability insurance, which is unheard of that they will provide a policy to you. It's anywhere from $2 to $4 million in liability insurance, which is just like astronomical. Definitely exceeds the industry standard. They do provide medical and dental insurance starting on day 1, and their insurance is through MVP Health. In order to qualify to receive insurance with them, you have to work a minimum of 32 hours per week, And the cool thing about their insurance plan is that it can be extended to spouses and family members. They do offer 401ks. They will match your investments after 1,000 working hours in 1 year with them. They offer paid time off for travelers working in Maine, Massachusetts, and Rhode Island. And you begin accruing paid time off with them after 90 days. So after one contract, you'll start accruing paid time off. They also offer free scrubs. I don't really know how often they do this. I don't know if it's annually or every contract or what, but they'll give you free scrubs in their signature colors, which are gray and green, which is kind of a cool. I mean, if you can wear gray and green, awesome. But I mean, free scrubs are free scrubs. The other thing about Mass Medical I want to say is that I actually found them to be quite an easy company to work with, and I found it to be quite streamlined and easy to get my first contract with them. All you have to do is get your foot in the door, so to speak, and Mass Medical is one of those companies that can definitely help you keep them in mind if you are a new traveler, because they really make the process pretty easy for first timers. Up next is Trustaff. Trustaff scored a 4.14 out of 5. I would probably give them a 4 out of 5. I think that's pretty accurate, actually. I will put my referral link down in the description box below. They do offer medical and dental insurance through United starting on day 1. They also offer a 401k option first day with matching after 1 year, so pretty standard for most of the companies so far. They also offer employee discounts with certain hotels, scrub and apparel companies, Planet Fitness. If you like to go to the gym, Planet Fitnesses are almost everywhere, so they do offer a corporate discount with them, and their plans are already so cheap to go to the gym there, so I can't even imagine like you'd be paying nothing to go to the gym, and most of their contracts are 13 weeks. However, Trustaff is offering crisis contracts, so some of them are only 4 weeks long. I can't say that they're competitive with companies like Nuwest and Krucial, but definitely look into them. They do offer travel reimbursements, licensure reimbursements, etc., like most of the other companies. And they're just an overall decent company. They're not my favorite, they're not my least favorite, but they're just kind of average in the middle. Up next is Talamed. Talamed scored a 4.66 out of 5 on travelnursingcentral.com. I think that score is okay. I would probably give them a 4 out of 5. Just because their pay rates are not very high. I feel like their pay rates aren't very competitive with some of the smaller companies, which is kind of shocking because they are a bigger company, but in my experience, I found that the bigger the company, the lower the pay rates are, because they usually opt for a lower hospital bill rate. But that's neither here or there. I just feel like because their pay is a little on the low side, they score just a little bit lower for me. I will put my referral code down in the description box below. I do feel like getting your foot in the door for a first contract is relatively easy with Talamed. They do take a lot of first-time travelers, so this might be a good option if you're new and you just want to get that first contract under your belt. You have a 401k option, and they will match it after 1 year working with them in 1,000 hours. They do offer day 1 medical and dental insurance through Blue Cross Blue Shield, so one of the best companies you can get for health insurance. They will also cover you up to 2 weeks between contracts. They do have a housing concierge service, so if you're having trouble finding housing and you're choosing to take this housing stipend and find your own, then they have a department that can help you find stuff locally to kind of take the weight off your plate on that aspect. They also provide paid time off. You get 1 hour for every 52 hours worked. So that can add up pretty quickly, like right off the bat. You don't have a waiting period for that at all. They do offer a $500 travel reimbursement. They also offer completion bonuses and extension bonuses. All right, Republic Health Resources. They scored a 4.59 out of 5. I probably would rate them a 4.5 out of 5. I think that's accurate. I will post my referral link in the description down below. They do offer tax-free travel reimbursements, just like most other companies. They do offer benefits, medical and dental, and 401k from day 1. They also have rental car discounts, so you get a corporate rate when you rent through Hertz, Budget, National, or Enterprise. So if you're one of those travelers who likes to rent a car instead of taking your own vehicle, just talk to your recruiter and they can get you hooked up with discounts for these rentals. They also have a contract with Extended Stay America offering 48% off monthly stays, which is like a hugely significant saving. Again, if you're one of the travelers who doesn't mind living in a hotel and you choose that option when you're finding your own housing, definitely talk to your recruiter, look into that option, and save yourself some money on housing. And they have what they call a director of experience. So similar to Emerald, the director of experience will help you with housing. They'll help you with the rental car discounts, those kind of things. So again, just talk to your recruiter and he'll hook you up with the director of experience. And then the last company I want to discuss is Trusted. Trusted scored a 3.22 out of 5. I mean, I feel like a 3 to 3.5 out of 5 is accurate for them. I think the reason they scored a little on the lower side is just because they don't use recruiters. So it's a lot of self-navigation and a lot of self-recruiting, basically. So that's what's unique about Trusted is they don't have recruiters. What they have is nurse advocates. So these are actual nurses who help you work through issues or problems or answer questions you may have while you're on contract. What's nice about Trusted is because there are no recruiters, there's no commission. So the money that would go to your recruiter actually goes back in your pocket. Pay packages are very high because those thousands of dollars that get taken out of your cut aren't. So for traditional contracts, you really can't compete with Trusted. But on the other hand, you don't have a recruiter. If you are a first-time traveler, I do not recommend you use Trusted simply because it's easier to learn the ins and outs and then go ahead and ditch the recruiter and go with a company like Trusted or Nomad. Nomad and Trusted have the same business model. But either way, I think that for the very first contract, going with the recruiter is a better bet just until you kind of understand things a little bit more in depth. I will post my referral code for Trusted down below. I don't know about their benefits. I don't even know if they offer any, to be honest. You would just have to talk to the nurse advocate to find that out. The other thing is they only will reimburse you for unit-specific required certifications or anything that's relevant to your contract. They don't reimburse you for travel. They don't reimburse you for scrubs or PPE or anything that you have to buy out of pocket, so just keep that in mind. That's it. Those are the companies that I would recommend you use when you're looking into starting traveling or you're considering changing companies. Again, all of my referral codes will be listed in the link down below. Please use them if you feel like you want to work with any of these companies. I have zero issues referring any of them to you. And just because something has worked for me doesn't necessarily mean it'll work for you. You might have a better experience with one company over the other. In 7 years, I have not had any issues with them, or else I wouldn't be recommending them to you. A lot of times it just takes some trial and error to find companies that you really vibe with. So just keep an open mind, try them out, see how it goes for one contract, and then go from there. It's okay to hop companies. It's okay to kind of, I don't want to say like pair companies against each other, but if I am looking for a job and I'm interested in going to one place, I will ask all my recruiters, hey, are you seeing this job in this place? And if so, what's your pay package like? And I do this independently with each company, and then I compare pay packages. And honestly, I go with whatever company is offering me the best deal. So if my goal is to maximize my income, I will go with the company that offers me the highest pay package, plain and simple. As long as I trust that company, which all these companies I do. I have no qualms about using any of them. So definitely play the field. Definitely go with the company that works best for you, recruiter that you get along with the most, that you get good feelings from. Do what's best for you. Of course, take everything I've said with a grain of salt. That's all I have for you guys. I will see you in the next video. Good luck and happy travel.